Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 18 of season 2 of the F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory Career Mode. Today we're here at the US Grand Prix. Really looking forward to this one. It's a track that usually we run alright at on the whole, and obviously a track that is fairly okay for overtaking as well. But coming into this US Grand Prix though, we had a really, well, I wouldn't say it was a tough time at the Japanese Grand Prix, but we just weren't quite where we expected, so we do still need to really try and pile on the chassis upgrades as we prepare ourselves for Season 3. The chassis and the engine are not quite where I want them to be going into Season 3. The chassis more than the engine, obviously. We've started to learn now that really the chassis is becoming a lot more important than I actually thought it would be, as, we spent most of this season upgrading the aero on this car. Theoretically now, I think we're pretty much tied with Red Bull and Mercedes in terms of car performance, but realistically, we're just not there yet overall. And coming into this weekend, it wasn't helped by the fact the fuel consumption, the fuel injector system efficiency had unfortunately failed. But we are in for a wet to dry race as well, which could prove to be very crazy on the whole, but we would get that engine fixed and ready for the next Grand Prix weekend out. But after practice though, fairly sort of simple session. We did struggle a little bit. This car I'm really starting to feel over these last couple of rounds is starting to struggle a lot more on one lap pace. In race pace it seems to be fine. You can just tell from even last week out where myself and Lance, obviously I crashed out in qualifying unfortunately, and Lance just had a tough time out. We both seem to be able to make up places in the race, so maybe this car is struggling with a one lap pace, but I think qualifying is going to say it might just be a little more than that on the whole. But yeah, we're going to get the engine obviously sorted, as you can see, and then we're going to have a look around everything else. You can sort of see where the efficiency, well, the car performance bar is at the moment as well. We're pretty much with Red Bull and Mercedes now. Ferrari have just got a little bit of a gap at the top of the order then. But coming to the end of Q1 here, we're going to go for my final run, and I sort of wanted to show you guys this fully on board because I think we might be experiencing a little bit of a glitch. Now, qualifying is generally a little bit funny in the Formula 1 games at the moment. You'll have seen that throughout all of Season 1 and Season 2. For some reason, as soon as you go out qualifying, the AI suddenly just become a lot slower, which is obviously very strange on the whole. But I think this one is a little bit more than that. See, coming through the first few corners, we're 6/10 up on anyone else. We're purple, although ever so slightly down on my own time. They're attacking the curbs a fair bit, but I sort of just wanted to prove to you guys, this whole lap in full here to break down at the 100 meter board. They're running a little bit wide as we come into the hairpin, but once again, not very much time lost there. We were able to get the traction very early there and get a good run down the back straight. Bring the car back down into overtake mode as well here as we come in towards this final sector of the lap. Back up into hot lap mode, so obviously we don't use all of the deployment before we get to the end of the lap here. Running a little bit wide once again, but again, not losing too much time from that there as we come now down through this tight, twisty final part of the lap here. No big mistakes anywhere so far here. Just missing the curve, just missing the apex ever so slightly. But again, like I said, you don't really lose that much time because you are just able to get on the traction a whole lot earlier there. So it sort of just balances itself out. But through in towards the final couple of corners then, and we are still, what, 4/10 up, nearly half a second up on my PB there. Through the final turn, you can see we've still got a tiny bit of ERS as well. And down towards the line, we're going to run out of ERS pretty much perfectly, but we're 3.5 seconds off the pace, and I'm really not too sure what I make of that on the whole. Now, I will have a look through in the race director. I think confirm that Lewis Hamilton seemed to have a bit of a glitched lap, which meant he was 1.8 quicker than anyone else. We'll have a look at that. So you can just see, yeah, 32.5 in the middle sector. But people like Ocon and Charles Leclerc, well, I think that was, 2 seconds quicker than me in the middle sector alone? We'll have a look on the race direct thing. See, Lewis Hamilton 1.8 quicker than anyone else in Q1. I think we can completely discount that one. But Esteban Ocon and Charles Leclerc were about 1.5 seconds quicker than me. Now, and well, look, Lance Stroll was half a second quicker than me. Now, I don't know if this is just a bit of a glitch. I don't know if it's just COTA, where the AI just appear to be ridiculously OP on the whole. But honestly, I don't know what to make of that. We'll have a look in the race director as well. But yeah, I think, well, as I said, I don't know whether we've just ended up with a bit of a, well, the AI, maybe the AI are OP at COTA on the whole, but I didn't really think, we'd lost 1.6 seconds on that lap. Yeah, we can discount Lewis, obviously. That 32.9 middle sector is quite clearly a whole bit broken there. But for myself, we ran, what splits did we run? We ran a 24.5, it's 36.5 and something else, and my teammate ran a 24.7. So it appears that, honestly, it's one of those weird things where I think everyone seemed to have a bit of a weird bug on the whole, at least some point on their lap. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of that. You can see Lance was, yeah, comfortably quicker than me. Pretty much everywhere else around the lap there as well. So yeah, not really too sure how to feel about that. But, you know, well, we can only hope that this glitch doesn't carry through into qualifying there. I think, yeah, Lance is making up most of his time in Sector 2 on me, if I'm not mistaken there. I'm having a quick look through. But yeah, further up the order, you can see Charles Leclerc ran a 23.6 first sector there, a 36.4, and then I'm not too sure what the final sector is as well. But yeah, that was one of the strangest qualifying sessions I think I've ever had on this game. And unfortunately, it's going to mean that we do miss out on Q2, though, which is very, very unfortunate by what's, I don't know how big the margin was, but I can't imagine it was all too much. But let's just move on then into the US Grand Prix. So here we are then at COTA, ready for the US Grand Prix. And as I said at the start of the video, it would be a wet to dry race here around the Austin Grand Prix circuit. As you can see, almost reminiscent, I think it was of 2015. Now, we do have a title fight coming through into this one. Obviously, Sebastian Vettel was able to win the World Drivers' title here this time last year in the Williams Road to Glory Career Mode. But today, he is fighting for survival. Kimi Räikkönen could become a two-time world champion in Formula 1. You know, what's that, 12 years apart as well. What a dramatic story that would be for the Ferrari driver there. As you can see, he's got, what, I think it's an 85-point lead coming into this race, and basically to stay within title fighting contention, Sebastian Vettel needs to win this race and just hope that Kimi Räikkönen has an absolute mare. But a wet to dry race could make it very, very unpredictable. You know, the Red Bull's obviously very, very quick in the wet. Mercedes always looks strong as well on the F1 2018 game, as well as IRL in this season. You can see, yeah, Kimi Räikkönen, an 81-point lead. Seb needs to outscore him by 6 points to remain relevant in the Drivers' World Championship, and obviously to stop Kimi Räikkönen becoming world champion. Ferrari have already wrapped up the constructors though, but Mercedes and Red Bull, there is still an opportunity for them to swap over. But Lewis Hamilton is on pole already for this US Grand Prix. Obviously, he absolutely loves this track and will do anything to win here once again. But in terms of the grid though, it will be Lewis Hamilton on pole ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Their 21 thousandths separate the two drivers on the front row from two completely different cars. Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez forever, that Force India, very, very quick on one lap pace. The Ferraris will make up row 3, even with Sainz, Ocon, Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso rounding out the top 10. Hulkenberg, Leclerc, Van Dorn, Lance Stroll, Romain Grosjean and myself would make up the rest of the order, with K-Mag, Pierre Gasly, Brendan Hartley and Ericsson starting last with a grid penalty. But I think we're almost ready then for the US Grand Prix. Quite looking forward to this one, hoping we can put on a bit of a show. You know, qualifying was certainly very
steep incline into turn 1. That'll help you scrub speed off. There are multiple lines, so be sure to make use of them.
Yeah, as I was saying, obviously we've got to make sure that we do get off to a very, very good start here in the US Grand Prix. But here we are then on the grid in intermediate conditions. It is 5 nights here at COTA, and it's lights out, and away we go. Charlie Whiting once again wasting no time whatsoever to get this race underway there. Clearly wants to get back inside nice warm and drive it. Coming in towards turn 1 here, we're going to go for a bit of a lunge on quite a few of the AI here. We're going to be able to get on the inside of Fernando Alonso there, so we're almost on the cusp of the points already here as we come now through turn 2 and turn 3. Yellow flags are out there. I think there's a little bit of contact between a couple of the cars ahead. Sebastian Vettel so slow there, and unfortunately we've been left with nowhere to go there. We're facing the wrong way already in this US Grand Prix there. That was not the start to this race I wanted there. Unfortunately, we had to take evasive action from all the cars continuing up ahead of me there, and nothing really obviously Seb could do. I'm sure he didn't expect a car to be launched down the inside there, but it was just evasive action from myself. Wrong place, wrong at time, but now we really need to mount a fight back here, and already on lap 2 we are starting that fight back down the inside of Brendan Hartley here as we come in towards the hairpin here. And not going to lie, I felt really confident in these wet conditions here. This car, I must admit, with all the, obviously the aero, it does really start to come alive in these wet conditions here, and obviously hoping I can try and prove that over the course of this Grand Prix now. So we're back up into P19, slowly but surely closing up to the back of K-Mag here in the Haas car for P18 as well here. You know, we really just want to try and fight our way back through. I do feel, you know, just like Japan, we do have the opportunity to try and score at least a few points on the board here coming through this Grand Prix. And now up the inside of K-Mag here into this wonderful double left apex corner there, and we now move up into P18 of this US Grand Prix here. So now we are really going to try and slice our way back through the field here. Precision overtaken to, you know, there's quite a few places where you can make overtakes, and once again, turn 1 is another one of those opportunities. Down the inside of Marcus Ericsson there, we do outbrake him, get it nicely slid onto the apex there, and now up into P17 of this Grand Prix here. Is next up on the old hit list will be Pierre Gasly. 10 minutes of rain, says my team Jeff there, but I'm not too sure just about that just yet here. But as you can see on the end of lap 3, they were all over the back of Pierre Gasly here. It's going to try and go defensive in towards the end of this long back stretch here. Brake just at the 100 meter board there. Are we going to be able to get the car hooked all the way up around the outside? He does try to squeeze me out over the curves, but we are able to make it work. And now we're up into P16 of this US Grand Prix. And next up will be Romain Grosjean in the other Haas car. Obviously, they're looking for a good, solid home Grand Prix. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's not looking like that is going to quite be the story for the American team here. Through these next couple of corners here, and we're all over the back of Romain Grosjean here. Are we going to be able to get a good run on the exit of the corner here? We're going to try to look almost to the outside in towards the hairpin here. We're going to switch back to the inside. Grosjean is going to try and go defensive on myself though, and not defensive enough, and now we're up into P15 of this race. 5 places made up in just 2 laps here. I will certainly take this in the early stages of this race. Next up though, Stoffel Van Dorn in the McLaren Renault here, and onto lap 5. Are we going to be able to get a good run out of the final corner? It appears that we have on the run towards turn 1 here. We're going to have a look up the inside of the McLaren Renault driver there, and now we move up into P14 of this race here. So we are still making up moves every possible opportunity here, and Lance Stroll is next up on the old hit list here as we come through lap 5. Still, as you can see in the S section there, on the exit of the S section here, we're going to get once again tremendous drive out on towards this hairpin corner here. Brake just at the 100 meter board there. Get down the inside of my teammate there, and we will now. Well, he tries to go for the switchback move, but he's not able to make it work there. So that's 7 places made up in just 4 laps here. What a start to this race it has been for myself, and just so much confidence in this Williams car. It might not have had the pace in qualifying here, but when we got into the race, it really did just come alive here. Daniel Ricciardo sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the end of lap 5 here, but we're still doing very well, closing up to the back of Charles Leclerc here as we come through the final couple of corners of this lap. To start lap 6, we're almost caught the way now through this Grand Prix so far, and the rain just does not seem to be leaving just yet there. Almost set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, barely off Daniel Ricciardo there. But in towards turn 1 here, we're going to send a very late lunge up the inside of Charles Leclerc. That must have been from about 50 metres back on the hole, but we were able to make it work on the Sauber driver there. Now up into P12 of this race, in Hulkenberg will be next on the old list here as we come out in towards the hairpin. Probably my favourite overtaking place, it appears, so far in this race. Down the inside of the Renault driver there, he tries to sort of let off the brake and then get back on it there, but he's not going to be able to make it work. We are now going to be up into P11 of this Grand Prix here, and this is going absolutely fantastically so for myself. And next up will be Esteban Ocon here. Is he going to be able to try and do anything to defend from myself here? We might try and go for a move up the inside through the double left-hand apex once more there, and almost a very big crash, but Ocon does fortunately spot me on the inside. And now we're up into the points of this US Grand Prix here on just lap 6. What a start this has been for myself. We were all over the back though of Fernando Alonso. All these guys seem to be really holding each other up as well at this stage of their race here. Are we going to be able to have a look up the inside in towards the final corner? Unfortunately not. We think better of it just as of yet there, but we are going to get good traction on the exit of the corner there. Lose the back end ever so slightly, but we are going to be able to hold the power in nice and tidily there up the inside of Fernando Alonso in towards turn 1 there. He tries to send the move up the inside of Sergio Perez, so it all got a little bit messy in towards turn 1 there, but we will be able to make the double overtake work there. And now we're up into P8 of this US Grand Prix, and that has been, well, what's that, 20th to 12th there, and effectively, well, from lap 2 to lap 7 there. What a start this has been, but we might not be done just yet here, because we're closing up to the back of Sebastian Vettel here, and if he wants to try and defend his World Championship, take it even further in this World Championship there, he's going to have to do a huge amount of work to close up to the back of Kimi Räikkönen there, and we've just made it one bit more difficult for him up the inside, now up into P7 of this US Grand Prix here. And now Carlos Sainz will be the final one in what is effectively a huge train in this race. We think about going for the move up the inside, but he's just that little bit too far ahead to really warrant going for an overtake just yet in this race through the next couple of long flowing corners here through the Turkey S section. A wonderful string of corners when you do get it right. And well, Carlos he's doing well at the moment here, but through the final few corners, just really using up all of the track space here. We're basically running like they did in 2017 in terms of our track limits here. Unfortunately, the game doesn't tend to agree there as well. But now on to lap 8. We're still all over the back of the Renault driver here. We're about half a second. That gap is certainly coming down there. We're going to send it down the inside, almost lock up in towards turn 1. Luckily, Carlos actually does the same thing there. That could, well, that avoided a very big crash there. We do get the traction on the exit there, and that is P20 to P6 from lap 2 to lap 8 of the US Grand Prix. Who says it's difficult to overtake in Formula 1? I know, I certainly don't there. And well, honestly, from there, sadly, this race just became very quiet for myself. By lap 14, we were going to be pretty much by myself in this race, and we are going to make the gamble onto a set of the soft compound tyres here. The AI hadn't quite made the switch just yet, but my tyres are really going off, so I thought, you know, we really had to here as we come to the end of lap 14. Tap the walls, go for a bit of a wall tap there, and playing too much Forza Horizon over the last few days here. But yeah, as you can see, now diving in towards the pit lane here, and obviously on the pit limiter here, 50 miles an hour, we do get it slowed down on the marks, and it will be a fairly textbook 2-second pit stop there. The Williams team very quick in terms of their pit stops here. We will drop all the way back down though to, I think, about P14, yeah, just behind my teammate Lance Stroll. I think Grosjean will get the move on me just as well. No, he won't. We will be able to hold on to that as we come in towards turn 1 here. But unfortunately, the move to the dries, I sort of felt came about half a lap too early. You know, the AI probably pit ever so slightly too late. We probably pit ever so slightly too early there. And unfortunately, we have picked up a 3-second time penalty there for track limits as we come out of the final corner here. You can see now, but back up all the way into P7 here. 7, there was going to be nothing we were going to be able to do. That Ferrari, unfortunately, just got held up in traffic throughout the opening half of this Grand Prix there. But yeah, unfortunately, it just meant that we weren't going to be able to hassle the top 3 teams towards the end of this Grand Prix. But obviously for Seb, he needs to get all the way back up to his teammate Kimi Räikkönen here, and well, get past him and overtake another car to be within any shot of winning this race there. Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on a very much drawing track there. But unfortunately, on the end of lap 17, we run very wide, pick up our second 3-second time penalty of the race there, and that was not exactly what I wanted here. But unfortunately, from there, nothing really happened, guys. I can only apologise from that, but we will have to cut all the way on to lap 28. Danny Rick will come through to win the race there. I think this is his 2nd or 3rd win of this season. I think it's one of the Mercedes. I think it's Lewis Hamilton comes through for P2 there, with Verstappen in P3. Raikkonen will come through for P4 there, ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel all the way down in 6th place there. You know what that means. Kimi Räikkönen will become a 2-time Formula 1 World Champion there, but through the final couple of corners of this race, it will be P7 on the road. We're going to drop down a couple more places, I think, with that 6 seconds worth of time penalties there. But what a race that was, slicing our way through the field, rip the wheel off as we come over the line there as well. But I think it's going to be P9 in the end of the US Grand Prix.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
I'm sure the party down at Ferrari will be going on long into the night, because he's finally made himself a 2-time world champion with Ferrari. Obviously, if this had been real life, and obviously this had been the 2018 season, Kimi Räikkönen would have obviously won back-to-back world titles for Ferrari as well. But obviously Sebastian Vettel did take home Season 1's world championship there. But in terms of that race, as I said, Ricciardo did come through for the race victory. They're ahead of Hamilton. Verstappen third means that obviously Red Bull make big gains out of Mercedes there in the World Championship. With Bottas and Sebastian Vettel rounding out the top 6, Charles Leclerc would come through for best of the rest and take out a good few points on myself. With Sainz, myself, and Ocon rounding out the top 10 there, with Alonso, Hulkenberg, my teammate Lance Stroll, and Marcus Ericsson just missing out towards the end of that Grand Prix there. But yeah, very, very interesting race on the whole. One that I think we can certainly say was action-packed, to say the least there. You can see further down the order, K-Mag in the Haas did not have a good race out, as well as his teammate Romain Grosjean had an even worse day for the American team there. Well, not even making it through to the end of the race there. Joined Sergio Perez on the wayside, but Van Dorn, Pierre Gasly, and Brendan Hartley obviously finished out the order at the end of that race there. But yeah, certainly a very, very weird weekend on the whole. In terms of moves, well, obviously Sebastian's day get even worse. He's now lost the world title to his teammate Guarantee, and he's also been jumped by Lewis Hamilton there. That could be a good battle going in through the final 3 rounds of the season. Verstappen jumps all the way back up past Perez and Charles Leclerc there, and this battle is getting very, very close. Valtteri Bottas looks like he is able to pull away, though, from us just a little bit here, so we'll need a couple of very, very good races in the final couple of rounds if we're going to be able to mount any sort of challenge to the Mercedes driver that I would really, really love to come through for P5. But in terms of the Constructors' World Championship, I think, well, obviously Ferrari have, obviously they wrapped that up last time out. I think Mercedes, obviously that gap to Red Bull has come down just a little bit, but Mercedes is still looking fairly comfortable for that change as well. Obviously to hold on to P2. No more changes in the Drivers' World Championship there. Renault do jump back past McLaren there, and obviously Haas are now comfortably down in 9th place there. I'm sure they will not be too happy with that, but we're now only 11 points off Force India as well there. But hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this video as well. Make sure you do like and subscribe if you want to see more of this F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory Career Mode. If you're interested in seeing some Gran Turismo Sport content on the channel, click on the orange icon currently on your screens. If you're interested in Forza Horizon 4, click on the green icon. Those are 2 of my other channels as well. But thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time at the Mexican Grand Prix.